Hey, good morning, Annie Ruler, Mrs. Amir Zaza, Dominique Maglavin. What a cool name. Annie Potts, how are you guys? I didn't want to scare you by coming on right on time, so I thought I'd come just a couple of minutes late. Actually, I was almost right on time, and then that freaking internet deal. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. So, good morning. Thank you so much for being here. How's the lighting? Is it all right? Is it good? Is it good on your eyes? How'd the killer leave the blood outside? Is there a way in and a way out? We can't see. Hey, Susan Dodge Aglar. So, man, three of you made my little all-star thing yesterday in the Cliff Notes. So, Annie, I don't know why my brain wasn't coming up with your last name at first. I was like Annie Ruler, Annie Potts. Um, Crime Story Diva, hey, and Susan Dodge Aglar was in those. Let's just call it the all-star report, right? That just kind of makes it fun. And Squirrely Burger was in there too. You guys, more lighting is great. Is it good right now, or do you need more? Because yeah, it is a little bit brighter than it used to be. It's just the smallest things make the biggest difference, and sometimes in a good way, sometimes not in a good way. So I'm not going to touch anything. I'm going to leave it all alone. We're going to just get going with the rock and roll of the show. Alistair Grant, good morning. Hello. Good. I'm so glad that the lighting is working. I think I'm getting it. This is why I like to do my shows every day, you guys, is so that I can get into a groove and just have a routine and we can do our thing. And, if you can make it, great. And if you can't, then we'll miss you and see you on the next time. Has anyone else done some digging into the tunnels in Idaho? Damn, there's tunnels in every place, aren't there? Like that's just part of life, I think. But yeah, it can definitely dovetail right into trafficking, right? Let me do my little disclaimer. Oh, and please hit that thumbs up, like, share, subscribe if you'd be so kind. Um, Everything I say is simply my opinion. It's simply for the sake of conversation, hoping to open up a discussion. I'm just going to throw my hat on because I can't stand what the freaking deal with the hair and the computer. It's absurd. It's absurd. It looks fine. And see, this is where I get into trouble. I just changed something. So now we have the shadow of the hat. And then I try to get the light at a slightly different angle so you can still see me. Anyway, freaking stupid computer screen. It is so weird what it does to your hair, what it does to your body. So, like yesterday, when people were bringing up that photograph of Kylie Rodney from the deli, the alleged last proof of life, the computer and the angle, all of that completely distorts everything, you guys. I mean, like, look at me right now with the lighting. Like, everything was fine. And then the hair starts doing its own computer gadget deal. The clothing, my body. I mean, I'm not trying to be overly self-conscious. I'm just saying that's the trouble with these freaking computers. And I'm not going to cuss about it. I'm just going to kick it over. So, hey, Car MC. So anyway, I was doing my little disclaimer. Everything I say is simply my opinion, simply for the sake of conversation, hoping to open up a discussion and learn something, not just about hair and lighting, but true crime and life in general, and safety and kindness and all that great humanity stuff. And my videos are specifically made for the YouTube, which is an entertainment platform. So I like to include all of that. I already did the please hit the thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. All those things to stumble on. I'm done with that until the signing off, right? So, you guys, let me just speed read through all of your comments, and then maybe that's a good way to get started, because I hate missing your comments. I missed a bunch yesterday. I always want to apologize in advance for missing them, but you know how it is. It's that balance. So I'm just going to speed read out loud. Hello from the West Coast, California today. Wondered why live is posted for 6:30 a.m. It's me, not Xena, that changed. LOL. Hello, Annie. Let's hit those thumbs up while we wait for your lovely hostess. It helps in case we hop off sometimes. Dominique says, good morning from my son's field trip bus ride. Goodness gracious. That's some dedication. Um, Dominique, where is the field trip headed? Discreet description, okay. Just good to hear field trips still happen. Right. I know when we ask those questions, like, where are you? We're not asking you to give out any specific information, just like in general, like just what country are you in? That's is about as specific as you need to be, really. But whatever you're comfortable with, if you live in a big city like New York City, then sure, like good luck trying to pinpoint somebody they're stalkers, right? And we do have to be aware there's stalkers everywhere. That's not new with the internet. The internet just makes it a heck of a lot easier for them, right? It's ridiculous. But, we all have our personal safety issues, probably, hopefully, under control. How'd the killer leave? No blood outside. Is there a way in and out we can't see? Hey, Jazz, more lighting is great. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Justice, and everyone. The lighting is fine. Yay, I made the all-star group. I'm going to highlight that one because I don't think I've highlighted yet. Good morning, Jazz and Chitty Chat Chat. So yeah, you guys, the more clever your comments are, the more likely they'll get into the all-star, right? So it's not a competition. It's just to, keep all of us on the up and up, keeping our best foot forward. Hello, everyone. Has anyone done some digging into the tunnels in Idaho? I finally caught a live. Where did that go? Good morning, Jazz and Chitty Chat. I got that one. Got that one. It's so annoying when it goes back and forth. Hey, Sudi Vakek. Good morning, all. Good morning, Monique Coate. And I hope I am not missing anybody. If I missed you already, just go ahead and type in again, you missed me, and then I'll hit you up. Annie Potts, no real liquid to me makes the tarps possibly legit. Brought changes of clothes, etc. Tarps being laid out by 2 to 4 people easier than one. Whoa, Annie. I mean, it sounds like a Dexter episode, doesn't it? Hey, from Europe, Christina Monterio. Cranky redacted their message. Cranky one. Annie, there is another way out. Annie, or is there another way out, or they had hours inside to change clothes? Just an FYI, I'm changing my name back to the original name today. Tomorrow I will be known as Dana. Oh, okay, cool. I wonder if wetsuits could have been used. Oh my goodness. I remember that with the whole OJ Simpson case too, right? But that was because of that movie that he was in the middle of filming or had just filmed, where he was like a Navy SEAL and wore a wetsuit and something about frogs. I don't know. It's been a little while, huh? Almost 30 years. Wow, 29 years since OJ. I think, if I'm doing my math right, it'll be 29 this summer. Annie, yes, hung out, open-minded and logical. Annie's stick together. True, Annie. All I know is it is obvious he did not do the red rooms on his own. Alistair Grant. Good morning, Sifa. So yeah, I agree that he did not do in 9 minutes. I mean, sure, maybe if he had a couple hours, and maybe he did do it in a couple hours. I don't think we're getting the full picture. And I want to read you guys something that I texted one of my mods. And I'm just going to read it verbatim. This was this morning at like first thing in the morning. I woke up with this thought, thinking about yesterday's live. And I like to go with the takeaway. I like to go with the cliff notes, like that one thought to spring forward. This is it for me this morning. James Fry gave himself away by not being angry and inquisitive about what those girls were doing for 8 hours before calling 911. That right there is everything you need to know. Honestly, you guys, it really is. When you're being gaslit, you guys all know this, but I'm just going to reiterate it since we're being gaslit all the time. This stuff is coming at you a million miles an hour, and life is already coming at you a million miles an hour. So when you're not being gaslit, you're just doing your best to keep your balance and, to go with the flow. And then when you're being gaslit, you might catch it, but then you forget. You literally forget. Like, how many things, like, let's jump into the Kylie Rodney case for a second. Remember when we all said if there's no water in her lungs, then we know she didn't drown? Remember that? We said that for like weeks on end. And then when they came back with no water in the lungs, we're like, oh, yeah, but she drowned. It said so. So there, she did. Okay, got it. Good morning, Sipa. Annie Potts. Kay's sister said almost 12 hours after the 911 call, Kay LinkedIn account was accessed and deleted. The only people with access to phone or laptop at the time were law enforcement. Whatever was on the LinkedIn is important. Annie Potts, were you watching the live last night with Jay is for Justice? Because again, I didn't catch all of it. I think it was 3 hours last night, but I caught a lot of it. And I think she was speaking to that. And that was fascinating. And I had that in my notes to bring that up. So let's talk about that for a minute, you guys. I'm going to reread what Annie Potts said. And I believe that you probably were watching that Jay is for Justice, because I had never heard that. Maybe I had and I forgot. So Kaylee's sister said almost 12 hours after the 911 call, Kaylee's LinkedIn account was accessed and deleted. The only people with access to phone or laptop at that time were law enforcement. Whatever was on that LinkedIn is important. And that kind of goes with my theory of where she was hired in Austin, Texas. She would have started last month, you guys. It's so freaking sad. Her like high paying dream job, which is funny because it was a marketing for a high tech firm, and her education was in early childhood education. So she was studying to be a credentialed teacher, and then she had done an internship with this high tech firm. I don't know if that was remote or if she traveled to Austin or what. I don't know when the internship was, but that would be on her LinkedIn account. And I do have the name of the LinkedIn account. It's in my notes. I don't think I have it right on top, so I'm not going to search for it. Or I'm sorry, I said LinkedIn account, the name of the high tech firm. So that high tech firm would be on that like resume of hers saying what position she had done as an internship. And then she may have had it in there already for when she was starting in February. So the fact that it was deleted and LinkedIn wouldn't have known that she was victimized yet. They wouldn't have known that she was unalived yet. So they wouldn't have deleted it. And obviously, she didn't delete it. And her sister apparently didn't delete it. So that would be law enforcement could probably access that, like especially FBI, right? Homeland Security, the type of higher up law enforcement, but probably police too. I don't know. But it's curious. It's very curious that it was deleted later that day. And that was her sister, Olivia, with an A, right? It's hard to remember. Her name is Olivia, not Olivia. So I think that's really important. I think that's really important. Hey, Fee Bennett. Good morning, Justice Warriors. Yes. Sifa, I appreciated your video last night on the 4 people that got abducted in Mexico. This morning on the local news, they alluded to a possibility, most likely being drug trafficking related. Wow. Yeah. Annie Potts, if it wasn't law enforcement accessing the LinkedIn, someone may have stolen her FIDO key and used it to access the LinkedIn. Why not delete her TikTok or Insta? Just LinkedIn. Weird. Thank you for that follow up, Annie Potts. So, yeah, that is to me casting suspicion towards the company that had hired her. And if anyone wants to put the name of the company into the chat, like I said, I have it in my notes here, but if I try looking for it, then that'll distract me. You're welcome. And thank you for the update. I was not watching what was on TNT Live. I was not watching. Was on TNT Live. Okay, so maybe they were covering the same thing. I think that they are affiliated, those two girls, TNT and J is for Justice. I know I see TNT in the live chat on J is for Justice a lot, and probably the other way around. Um, but yeah, it's a very, very good point. And I might have heard it once a while back, but it just, the stuff is coming at you a million miles an hour. It's hard to keep up. And yeah, accounts get deleted or frozen when people pass away. But in 12 hours, they didn't even have the names released yet. Um, so, the families were just finding out Sunday evening, probably well after 5, because the coroner didn't even get started until 5, and you can't do the official notification until you got the coroner. And then usually you're going to have like the police chief and the coroner show up on the person's doorstep, or maybe somebody from the police department, if not the police chief and the coroner, and they'll show up on the family's doorstep to notify them in person. But I don't know when these families are 90 minutes away, which Kaylee's family would have been 90 minutes away. Probably Ethan's family, Maddie's family, probably all about 90 minutes away. And then Xana is Arizona. So, they probably would have had an Arizona law enforcement, maybe even an Arizona coroner show up on a parent's doorstep or the next of kin. So yeah, I guess if they're not there, they're going to just work with local law enforcement. But that's usually how it goes. It has to be the coroner has seen the deceased, and then the coroner needs to at least have an agent there at the formal notification. Um, and it's so sad that it took so long for this formal notification. During that time, of course, the family is in dire anguish and hoping and praying that the information is incorrect, because that does happen. Sometimes things go on the news that one person specifically passed away and another person survived, but they got it wrong. And then the family finds that out after they are already convinced that and so that's a nice surprise, right? But the other way around, no. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Annie Potts, law enforcement, I think, was half an hour after 911 call, makes it look like a boyfriend or family member or new company. I share passwords with partner and family myself. Interesting. A half an hour after the 911 call. You are kidding me. Annie Ruler, Annie Potts. Oh my goodness. And Annie Potts says, Annie, Kaylee's sister, said almost 12 hours to the minute. That's about 11:58, November 13th, November 58 p.m. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And see, they would have been less suspicious if they waited those 2 minutes so it went on record as November 14th, right? I think that's extremely significant, you guys. I really don't think we're going down a rabbit hole to be suspicious of this stuff. It's insane. I think it would be putting on blinders to not examine it, at least to rule out the possibilities. You think that gang is involved? So, Sifa, yesterday we were thinking of using a different word for the cars that aren't telling. That's my code. So that we don't get flagged as quickly by the crazies. And we inserted thug for that. So are you inserting gang for that same thing? Because it sounds totally nuts when you say you think that that's involved. Then people are just like, yeah, and the aliens, right? And sure, I can see where for people that are naive, and bless everyone who's naive and has that luxury. I wish I was one of them, but I live in Ohio where we have that type of activity going on, and we have arrests going on. We've got the trafficking, we've got the thugs. And when you have the organized crime, you've got your ranking, and yeah, the people that are going to be distributing on a college campus are just going to be like your regular people. Again, I brought this up a couple of months ago. Remember in St. Elmo's Fire, the character that Rob Lowe played, right? So he was the Cato of the campus. You always have a Cato. What do you think Cato was there for? Cato was there in the OJ Mansion estate, Rockingham estate. He had one of the pool houses, so that if anything were to ever happen, he was the fall guy. You have your Cato to be your fall guy, so that none of the pretty people get into trouble. Um, Sorry about that. My telephone. I was wondering about the her desire to be a teacher and the job she went into. So the job that she went into was just like super high paying. And this it was a high-tech security firm. And so they specialized in high-tech security for individuals and businesses, I believe. And she was in the marketing end of it. I believe. That's all the information that I've come across. Could the company have deleted it? See, that's what I'm wondering. If they deleted it because they didn't want to be involved. Nobody wants to be involved in this. The university doesn't want to be involved. That's why they kept trying to say off campus housing. And yeah, it's off campus by about 4 feet. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. It's literally in the center of everything, and it's just right across the street from like the campus boundary. You wouldn't call it off campus. Barely, 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 barely. Like technically, yes, but then they go and have their press conference on campus. Like, but wait, it didn't happen on campus. So, if your college kids are afraid because this happened to other college kids, but it happened off campus, wouldn't that fear extend to the entire town of Moscow and the surrounding areas too, the rural areas? I wanted to talk about that today, you guys. The fact that the criminal defendant, in his application for the Pullman PD, wrote about being specifically interested in, um, what was it? Rural, how to harvest technological, the IT data and evidence in specifically rural cases. So I wonder if he wrote that because he was trying to aim it towards what the department wanted, or if that was genuinely what he was specifically more interested, this rural area IT evidence collection. I find that fascinating. Um, you know, Dad, there really is something to all this trafficking. Kaylee. Kaylee said that to her father, Steve G. Gonzo, as I like to call him. I think that's his nickname. And actually, I won't call him that because I don't know him. And if I don't know for sure that that's his nickname, or if he doesn't mind people calling him that. Anyway, Steve G is a little bit simpler than Gonzalez. And then there becomes an argument over exactly the right enunciation of this beautiful last name that some people say Gonsalves. It's like different, right? Anyway, Steve G. Dad, there really is something to all this trafficking. Did Kaylee say that to Steve G, Annie Potts? Deep dive that place in Texas where she was going to work. It's interest. Right. I have done a little bit of research on it on the internet. I wouldn't say a deep dive. I'd say like a light dive, or maybe a medium to light dive. There's so many things I'm trying to look at, and like you just get distracted. Like I've been wanting to look at the tuition for the two schools, for Pullman, Wazoo, and I always say it backwards, the University of Idaho, I think, or is it Idaho University? University of Idaho, right? U of I, because IU is Indiana University in Bloomington. That's how I remember. So yeah, UI is University of Idaho, which is a lot cheaper than, I'll just read it to you. I took a screenshot on my phone. A lot cheaper than Pullman, which I was so surprised. I thought it would have been the other way around. So let's see. Where is it? Here is the University of Idaho. In-state tuition is just over 8,000. Out-of-state tuition is 28 um 2,800, 2,700, 500, 27,576. Okay, did I confuse you? I confused me. Washington State University, in-state tuition is 12,417, and out-of-state tuition is just under 28,000. So the out-of-state tuition for the two of them is very, very comparable, just less than $200 difference. But the in-state tuition, the University of Idaho, is a whole lot cheaper. And then some states have reciprocity, right? I don't know if Idaho and Washington have reciprocity. When I went to school in Washington State, I think that they had reciprocity with Oregon. So people in either state could go to either of the colleges in either state for the in-state tuition. But anyway, that's something I'd been wanting to look up for a long time. I finally just looked it up yesterday, and I'm just tossing that in there. And yeah, the company in Texas, like I said, if anybody, Extreme Networks, thank you, Annie Potts. It's an easy word to remember if you have a brain, but my brain is going in so many directions, and one of those directions needs to be this mug of coffee. Good morning, Liza Rowe de Wallerbridge. How are you today? Thanks for coming. Okay, how far behind am I now? It's 10 o'clock. I'm just about 10 minutes behind. So Extreme Networks, Annie Potts, thank you. It's helpful to have a word to speak to it. So Extreme Networks is where Kaylee did her internship and where she was scheduled to start this very high-paying dream job last month. And it's possibly Extreme Networks that had the information deleted. Her whole LinkedIn account was deleted, it sounds like. Interesting. I'll have to look into them. Kaylee's parents were notified by the sheriff's office at 4:30. Well, like by the local sheriff's office or telephone. 4:30. So that's weird because the coroner, I don't think, started until 5. Maybe that information is not accurate. GC says law enforcement walks back stuff is sus and are now using gag order to not have to discuss or answer questions. I agree 100%. Yeah, they said that it happened between 3 and 4 a.m. and I believe that the things that they say up front are usually spot on. Then they start revising their story to fit the narrative that they want it or need it to fit. The narrative is always going to be designed to protect the financial interests of the large institutions. I'm telling you, every single unaliving case, that's how it is. I didn't believe that when I was younger, and when I first started to hear that, I thought that doesn't even make sense, but it actually does make sense. It makes a lot of sense. Good morning, Michael McAllister. Coroner wasn't allowed into the scene until 5:30 to declare deaths, yet sheriff's office was notifying Kylie's parents at 4:30. Whoa, that's nuts. That's nuts. And she wasn't allowed in? That's very, very, very suspicious because you had law enforcement there. You had people from the Moscow PD. It might not have been Brett Payne yet because he didn't drag his butt there until 4 hours into the responding. Like, that's not called responding, but I think that's how he worded it in his affidavit. We responded to the call at around 4 a.m. or approximately 4 p.m. Sorry, we know that. Good morning. Did any father or mother show up to the scene before or during the day? What a great question. Right. I mean, I would have been there in a heartbeat if I had heard that something happened. Even if my kid wasn't that closely tied in, I probably would have showed up in a heartbeat just to hug my kid and make sure that they were okay. If they were anywhere less than 10 hours drive, probably. Yeah. We are talking about the cowboy gang from South Carolina. Squirrely Burger, why are we talking about the cowboy gang from South Carolina? Now you got me all confused. So Sifa and what Sifa did last night, what he put up, because I didn't see it yet. I saw that there was something new, but I didn't get to see it. So thanks, Annie Potts. I missed the PM. Still, someone felt it was important to not share where she had worked, her qualifications, or her current soon to start job. Yeah, I mean, that's still extremely fast. The 12 hours after the 911 call, extremely fast. And it was deleted. It wasn't just frozen, right? It was deleted because they didn't want people to see things in there. Obviously, somebody didn't want it to be seen, whether it was law enforcement, the university, the sorority. I'm telling you guys, I'm very suspicious of all of those entities I just named. Very suspicious. And I'm also suspicious about the extreme networks. Like, is that a company that contracts with the university and the sororities? My guess would be that it is, but that's just a guess. That's really a shot in the dark. Good morning. Yes, she did say that to her dad. Really? About trafficking? I have not heard that. Can you provide where you've heard that, or if it's just through the interweb, that's fine too. But I've not picked that up, and I pay close attention to this case, you guys. I kind of almost don't pay attention to any other case because I try not to be distracted. So I gather a lot. I'm harvesting a lot of data about this case. I'm not going to say I catch everything because it's impossible to keep up with everything, right? But I do my best, and that's one of the reasons why I like having the chat, because you guys fill me in often on the things that I've missed or point me in the right direction. So thank you for that. It was IT cloud-based, like BK. She mentioned the trafficking to her dad for a reason. And yes, she said that he recounted the conversation in one of his first interviews. So wait, the trafficking tied in with her IT job at Extreme Networks? Is that what you're saying, Annie Potts? That's wild. It wouldn't surprise me, except it kind of would. It would surprise me that she would know that and share that with her father. That's huge. That is huge, in my humble opinion. Just getting here, Shirley Urban. How did you say that? Sherry Urban. Close enough, right? I'm sorry if I hacked it up. Liza, I'll just say Sherry I. How about that? Kay got a degree on early child, blah, 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 how she gets a job with tech company, entry level, high pay at 21 years old. Thank you, Liza. Very, very astute question. And if I say that, I'll put that in the all-star and don't write it down, I'll forget. So I'm not going to write it down. I'll try to get it into the all-star Cliff Notes version this afternoon. Kaylee got a degree on early child, blah, blah, how she gets a job with a tech company, entry level, high pay, and at 21 years old. Super good question. And then remember, too, she was going to be fleeing the country. I mean, traveling Europe for 2 months, for like December and January, maybe, or at least 1 month of that. Wasn't it just 1 month that she was going to be I don't know, doing like the Euro Trail backpack thing is what it sounded like to me, which would be fabulous. I'm so sad she didn't get to do that. I would like to know the name of the company in Texas. So yeah, that's it. Sudi V. It's that Extreme Networking, and it's right there in Austin. Austin's a big city, you guys. There's a lot of high-tech positions there. There's a lot of high-tech companies there. It's a very big city. It's a very happening city. I've never actually been to Austin, but I, of course, know a lot of people that have and that have lived there and just love it. Okay, what did I miss? What did I miss? I missed a whole bunch. I'm gonna get caught up. Okay. Was Kaylee talking drugs or people traffic? Annie Ruler asks to Sudi. Very good question. We want to be specific. Sudi Extreme Networks, if I'm not mistaken, University of Idaho just lowered tuition trying to get students to enroll. They have been having extreme financial difficulty for a while, um, which isn't out of the norm for universities and colleges, especially these days, but always, always. Annie Ruler says to Liza, told dad she saw dad made good money in tech. That is why she changed her career focus. Internet for new company. Guy did interview early in the case. Good to know. But I thought she was planning to go back into education. Thank you, Annie Potts. I read about the tuition too. Interesting. I'm so late, but the field trip is to the aquarium. Oh, aquariums are awesome. That sounds like fun. Um, Shed Aquarium is one of my favorites. I haven't been there in infinity years, like probably 35, somewhere. No, more like 30 years, but maybe not even that long. Mid 90s, however long ago that was. Shed Aquarium's incredible. Seattle had a really good aquarium. Newport down by Cincinnati has a really good aquarium. So that's Newport, Kentucky, which is kind of Cincinnati, right across the river there. YouTube removed my video from last night for violating TOS. Interesting. That sucks. Kevin B says last night Truth and Transparency had Doc Thrifty on, and they are exposing how Enon is involved allegedly in, but we need to emphasize why is the cops not looking into other suspects. Squirrely Burger says, are you kidding me, Sifa? That's so strange. Because of that was the first news clip I watched this morning on YouTube reporting out of Charlotte News. And Annie Ruler says, Sifa, OMG, so sorry to hear. I try not to use bad words commenting, wonder what was said. Did I say the M word? Yeah, the other channel can post the video with no problem. Gotta love it. Other channels can post the video. Interesting, you guys. I'll have to check that out. You should watch it, Justice A to Z. I commented because Lana is close to Ashley Banfield. Why is Ashley Banfield not asking critical questions like why they're not investigating other suspects? Yeah, Kevin, I don't trust Ashley Banfield anymore, unfortunately, because I had a lot of faith in her. I'm not having that faith in Ashley Banfield. It's because I showed the footage, Sifa says. Sudi, by the time Kylie's mother called Maddie's mother was driving towards the house per Kaylee's mother. On the interview where she describes how long it took for police to contact them. Wow. And you're probably talking about Maddie's biological mother. She was from an area outside of, I think she was from like something Falls, Post Falls. Is that right? Not too far from Coeur d'Alene. I'm not going to say that right. Censorship at its finest. Yes. Yes. You know, one of my phrases was like muted out and deleted from a video like 2 or 3 days ago. And I think it had the M word in it. It was just like a half of a sentence and it just got deleted out. I don't think that was, just a technical difficulty, but that's what it looked like. I was like, wait, what? So I had to watch it a few times, just that one little part. But yeah, they definitely edited out something right from the video that it wasn't even that bad. But because I do try to be careful, even though I'm not monetized right now. I want to follow the rules. I do. Sometimes you just got to curse though, but when you need to drop the f bomb, sometimes it's good enough to just say f bomb, right? Or what the f, WTF. Let's see. Yeah, that is fascinating. Thanks, Liza. You've got some great comments here. Everybody's got some really good comments. I believe she was gathering evidence and going to blow the whistle when she left the country for her backpacking trip. Wow, Annie Potts just putting it all together. See, you're not allowed to do that. Then you're going to be called one of those theorists, right? It's quite feasible. It's quite feasible that, Kaylee and Maddie had quit the sorority. I'll just say it because I'm not saying that it's true. I'm saying it's possible. They quit the sorority. Perhaps there was that whole thing with the OnlyFans. Perhaps that's extremely lucrative and they didn't want to split the cash. They wanted to keep their cash. So perhaps that was some of the animosity in them breaking off from the sorority. And then Kaylee went to the sorority party as Dylan's um not significant other, as Dylan's plus one, right? The night before this happened on Friday night, like November 11th. So before the Saturday the 12th, when this happened in the wee hours of Sunday the 13th. Um, and then Maddie had also resigned from her sorority, it sounds like. And, Maddie was still a student. Kaylee was graduating, so it would make sense that she was parting ways. I don't know how long that had been that they were disengaging from being active members of the sorority. But, I had asked that a week or two ago, and someone said, oh, no, you can quit a sorority. Well, of course, you can quit anything. You are free to resign from anything, but that usually involves emotions. People get very emotional when you quit a job, when you take a job, when you transfer from one university to another, when you move. Your friends and family will take that very personal sometimes. Your boss might take that very personal. Your coworkers might take that very personal. They get pissed off. They feel abandoned. Ultimately, that's the bottom line. When you leave for whatever reason, the people around you feel abandoned and they get angry. If somebody has a perceived abandonment, it taps right into rage, you guys, right into rage. That's why crimes of passion can be so violent, because there's usually an abandonment or a perceived abandonment. And then it's not just anger, it's full blown rage. So, you know, people get mad, they get their feelings hurt. And yeah, you can't, everybody that I'm speaking to in the chat knows this. We've all quit jobs, we've all moved. Um, People get mad at you and then they try to set up a situation where they can blame you and say that it's something else, and then they can say good riddance, screw you, I didn't want you around anyway. How many of us have experienced that, right? um Fascinating. Sifa says pretty much, right? The Where'd we go? Here we go. I am 11 minutes behind. So much for the truth being told. Squirrely Burger. Yep. Yeah, you can't handle the truth, right? Um, Sudi V says company is in Texas. Trafficking is so real here. Right. Well, you're right by the border too. So there you go. And then right there, yeah, like El Paso is pretty much right on the border. Yes, Annie, she was going to Europe. Annie, I feel she was not going to wait till backpack trip. I told Adam everything was possibly pain sitting there listening. Well, what if that was Chief Fry that was in the still shot next to Adam? Atom. I know that you guys need me to say it like that because you love it. I do too. What did you tell Atom? I told Atom everything. That's what makes me so suspicious about that audio tape is the way they're enunciating his name so clearly, extra ultra clearly. It's like, I don't know. It's a red flag, maybe a yellow flag. Good morning. Hit the like button, yeah, all. Thank you. I do now. Harsh one, Shelly. That's not harsh reality, is it? Because I know he used to pop in sometimes, and I miss him. But I see him on his show all the time. I catch him routinely. I do love Austin. It's fun and historical. Yeah, it's a really happened in town. I remember Sandra Bullock and her ex-husband, was it Jesse James? Was that his name? They opened up a restaurant there, and there's lots of music and the university that's there. It's a very happening place. And there's that saying, keep it weird, right? That's like an Austin saying, keep it weird. Because they're like goofballs. I guess they're just like hipsters, which I was talking about that yesterday with the good vibes neon signs that Kaylee and Maddie had in their bedrooms or in the living room of that house, that if there was animosity from law enforcement towards hippies, good vibes is like a hippie phrase, isn't it? I mean, I don't hear squares talk about good vibes. Oh my goodness, there was a great call in yesterday on J is for Justice, and this guy was from Washington State, and he knew the culture of Pullman very well. So he was speaking to a lot of the things that I have tried speaking to about, not to be mean or rude, but Pullman's kind of an armpit, and there's really nothing there other than the university. It's a mass party town, mass party university. Like, it's not a real serious college, not to be mean, but it's kind of a joke of a university in the state of Washington. I'm just letting you guys know that. And then you got Moscow, which he, like me, had never been there, didn't really know much about the University of Idaho, but just that's a nicer, hipper place, basically. It's got more character. It's cozier, basically. And really, I think, to put it in some other terminology, it's where the beautiful people are, right? That's the terminology I was looking for. Leaving the country sounds suspicious to me. Remember Kylie Rodney traveling all around the world, training on trafficking trip. Yikes. Spoke too soon. I have no doubt baby girl Kay left a nice long digital trail for her IT dad to follow. Dad said early on that his IT had to break into the phones, plural. Interesting. So sad. And then, remember Steve G's brother, right? His Kaylee's uncle is in prison for red rum in Washington State. Has anybody looked that up? I have not. But I plan to, hopefully today. Liza, thank you. Good morning, Zena. Hey, Caleb. Justice Warriors. That would be nice. Good morning, Caleb. Good morning, Caleb. Ahoy, Sifa. What video is in question? Good morning, y'all. Hit that like button. And we're at 50 minutes almost. So I'm going to try to get caught up and then sign off. I'm like 8 minutes behind you guys. Oh, hey, Nico. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Maud. Thank you, everyone in chat. And thank you, all the lurkers as well. You are appreciated, too. It's fine to lurk. I'm telling you, it's annoying. I have to lurk when I'm on my cell phone. Like when I was watching J is for Justice last night, I was out doing my exercises. And so I was on my phone, so I couldn't even say hi or let anybody know I was there. And I always like to say hi and let people know that I'm there. And especially like that one guy with all his great information, the guy who called in, he was phenomenal. Like, what a score. She was really happy to talk to him and was like, please call me back sometime. You're great. And he was. And who is paying for that? Europe is not cheap. She hadn't started working, had a car note. Family said that she was paying all her bills. How? Yeah, interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, they love to emphasize how what a hard worker she was and how she paid for everything on her own, but they did say that they, like, loaned her or gave her $7,000 for the purchase of the vehicle, I believe. Excuse me, I've got a little tickle in my throat all of the sudden, so let me take another gulp. Hopefully that'll make it all go away. Make it all go away. Let's not forget the Venmo transaction to EK paying her for 3:30 a.m. EK, help me out. I'm blanking on what EK is. Should that be like right on top of my brain? Because it ain't. But yeah, Annie Potts, let's not forget the Venmo transaction to EK paying her for 3:30 a.m. Who's EK, please? I don't understand that. Dylan's plus one at a sorority she left. Yes, Cranky, that's the story that they are sticking to. Is that she accompanied Dylan to the sorority that she quit, so she wouldn't have been allowed to come to this party, apparently, or maybe she just couldn't go to the pre-party except that she was with Dylan, so she could. And I think that that Friday night, November 11th, is the pictures of Kaylee and Dylan in the skin tight black dresses in front of the white curtain. So that white curtain, I always think must be the like a photo shoot set that they have at the sorority where all of the sorority sisters do amazing photographs, amazing little modeling on the spot. And the photos of Kaylee and Dylan that night are smoking hot. I used them in a few of my thumbnails recently. If you haven't seen them, if you just go to my page, you'll see the ones I'm talking about. Um, so yeah, apparently that was one of the reasons she came to town. Like the family said she had just gotten the car 2 days earlier and she was coming to show her car off to Maddie, but apparently the party was something she was coming for. And apparently she hadn't just gotten the car 2 days earlier. She'd gotten it a couple of weeks earlier, right? But what is EK? Let me write that down so I don't forget. EK. And I'm going to get caught up. Here we are. Caleb Sifa put out a video this morning at about 1 that was highlighting for U.S. citizens from North Carolina and South Carolina that were abducted and looks like maybe red rummed. Holy wow. Off the subject here, when did Kay and Mad leave the job at the Greek restaurant? Well, Madison and Xana worked at the Greek, and I thought that they still worked there. So Kaylee had worked at the coffee shop, right? And I think she had quit working at the coffee shop about a year ago. Um, that's what I think, Sudie. If anybody's got any other information, I am going to try to speed read through and get all caught up. Where are we at? It's so annoying. 4 US citizens, sorry, I didn't proofread before I sent it. Quitting sororities, then 2 of the 3 ex-sorority girls go to the annual dance. The lure for Kay makes the red rummers were inside and comfortable. Miss Annie Ruler, speaker of truth, I believe. Like put down tarps for a jello party, some fun thing, then wham. You know, let me just say some wild theory that I just thought of a couple of days ago, and it's completely out in left field, maybe even in the weeds. But I thought, what if the red rumming happened somewhere else and then they were basically um, put into the home, into the beds to make it look like, I know it's far fetched. I know it's probably completely has nothing to do with anything, but it was a thought that I had. And then what you just said kind of ties in. If there was like a jello party somewhere else. I mean, maybe they were having a Jello party at their house, but no. Who knows? Who knows? That is wild. Let's say you discover your sorority is working with someone like Kopaka and your house is in the cam house and the stash house, and you steal some money from the stash, plan to flee, and Kopaka finds out. I hate putting any kind of um, shade on Kopaka, and I'm fine with what you just said there, Annie, because I think that's a really good kind of troubleshooting conceptualization. Let's say you discover your sorority is working with someone like Kopaka, and your house is in the cam house and the stash house, and you steal some money from the stash, plan to flee, and Kopaka finds out. So one of the things that I caught in the J is for Justice live last night that I wanted to speak to is that normally when a Purple Heart Army vet would get taken out by a SWAT team, you would have all kinds of Purple Heart Army vets coming out of the woodwork, crying foul. That's the way that stuff works. So nobody has come out to speak for Kopaka at all. Not Army vets, not friends, not family, no one. I find that highly suspicious. Highly, highly suspicious. Army vets would cry foul. Like, you need to have gone to every great length that you could to help negotiate this guy out safely. So I'm much more suspicious of the whole Kopaka thing after considering that last night. And I was already super suspicious of the whole Kopaka thing. But like I said, I don't suspect him so much. I think that if he was tangled up in it, that he would have been taken out because he was the weakest link, right? If he was tangled up in it, he might not have realized what he had gotten tangled up in until it was too late, in my humble opinion. You're back at the house for the weekend? Exactly. Exactly. No, I'm not harsh reality. I love his channel. Yes. Yeah, he does a great job. He put out 3 videos yesterday, you guys. Please help explain the need to be there at the party. Well, I don't think there's much explain needs to be done. I mean, it just is what it is, right? My last 2 comments go together. There wasn't enough space to put it all in one comment. Are you my harsh? I want a hoodie from you. No, she just said she wasn't. If that's a she, harsh one, Shelly. Thank you, Annie. Cranky, I believe she was lured to the +1 invite. Her mom even said she debated on going. That reminds me of the Kylie Rodney debating on going to the party, right? I do not like seeing so many similarities with Kylie Rodney in this. Do I need to make my list again, you guys? Remember when I did my massive list of Kylie Rodney and Trinity Backus? And remember, I said this once before or twice before that the Trinity Backus case was the first time I had ever heard of OnlyFans. And it was Trinity's mother and her fake Auntie Ashley suspect number 1 who had OnlyFans pages. And now I'm wondering if that is just a big thing in a town like Truckee with all their adorable high school girls, college girls. Wondering if that's a huge thing with a lot of sororities pulling in cash. Again, the brick and mortar is expensive. I mean, these sororities and fraternities are usually in these large houses. They're essentially mansions. And you know how expensive it is to run a mansion? Even if it was a gift and it was free or cost $1, it's insanely expensive just to keep up with the bills and the taxes and, keep the lights on, as they say. Um, the expenses are just endless, right? A money pit. Great point. I saw that and was like, oh, well, I'm going to Mexico anyway, but it's not right to not be safe. Yeah. Yeah. Be careful in Mexico, especially. Um, Sifa, I was listening at the beginning of your video last night. I did not listen anything that violated TOS. It was too late for old me. I fell asleep. I was going to listen again this morning. Man, I'm so far behind. Can I get caught up? I'm at 1 hour. I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep trying. Um, because you guys have the greatest comments. The greatest comments. You're just like making the show. Thank you so much. I don't gotta do nothing, right? Just read. And I'm having trouble with that. So let me try to keep up. That's cool that you won the hoodie. Yeah, absolutely, Annie Ruler. I wanted that hoodie. Congratulations. How did the family get the phones back so soon in an open investigation? Well, they have a shared account, so I don't know that they actually got the phone. I mean, the sister was able to tap into all the information immediately. Um, I'm not Harsh Reality and I don't have a public channel. Harsh one, thanks for the hoodie. Oh, you're cute. Why give them a chance to nab US there if they US at least let them try to do it here and then we have a fighting chance. Excuse me. I'm still going on the fact that Dylan was in control of the whole thing and Ethan and Xana were the target and the girls walked in on what was going on. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you, Alistair Grant. It's hard to say. I mean, sometimes I think that the Xana and Ethan were the target. Other times I think that Maddie and or Kaylee were the target. Sometimes I think all four of them were the target. I mean, because why on earth would you have two untouched? And yes, I get more and more suspicious of the two untouched as time goes on. And I get more and more suspicious of law enforcement for their attitude about the 8-hour delay. I mean, that attitude about the 8-hour delay says it all as far as I'm concerned. Just going to leave it right there. It's pretty simple. I mod for CCTV, but I'm just into true crime, and the Kylie Rodney case started me following my squirrels on fire, and a few of y'all, I'm a fan. Oh, yes, CCTV. My heart breaks for her just because she's right there, and she's trying so hard to step up and do the right thing, and nutty. Exactly, Caleb. EK is Elizabeth Katovich, sorority head. See, I've never heard that name. Thank you. Sorority head. Maybe I've heard it, but it went in one ear out the other. She received a lot of money from different people on Venmo that night in early AM. Annie Potts, are you freaking kidding me? If you're not making that up, I mean, I'm not blaming you. If somebody isn't making that up and if that's not fake news and you got fooled into thinking it was real news, like, that's crazy. Katovich. What a coincidence, right? And we always say there's no such thing as coincidence in homicide. I mean, unaliving. Facts, Caleb, you are so right. Wow, that is huge. See, I'm so glad I haven't given up on trying to get caught up because that to me is like one of the hugest pieces of info. If that's accurate, that's crazy. That is crazy. Sometimes I love lurking around, folding and ironing laundry before power gets cut off in 45 minutes for 4 hours. Yes, that is reality. As an American, we are a target in other countries and also, unfortunately, in our own. This channel is the best with info. Oh, cranky. We're so kind to say that. And see, it's because of you guys. It's because I opened that channel so that you guys can pour it in. Seriously, I think. You guys make the channel. I don't know about the 7K. Still, that will be a down payment or not. I'm not clear about money. I have no proof for the lady's possible webpage. I cannot count that on clear conscious. So the 7,000 is what I heard Kaylee's mother report, that there was some big chunk of change that they either gifted to her or loaned to her, but that she did the rest of it with her own money or something. I remember something about 7,000. I mean, maybe it was a graduation gift. Let's say there was about 50K sitting in a suitcase in the house waiting for pickup. You steal 10K to pay for down payment on a Rover and your Europe trip. You plan to flee, lured back, and he's there. Oof, 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 oof. Squirrely Burger update for you. 2 of them have been found deceased. 7K could very well be down payment on vehicle. Well, and I think it was part of the down payment for the vehicle, if I'm remembering accurately what the mama said. Oh, I'm a she, Harsh says. Also, not knocking our vets. My deceased ex was airborne 3 tours. I'm speaking from knowledge on their training, and some things they do when back in civilian life may become private contractors. Wow. Annie Potts. Dang. That's awful, Sifa. Where did you hear about the suitcase of cash? I think that was a theory, a theorizing. But let's see, suitcase of cash, just like a purse full of cash. I think you need to do your list. Was there a purse of cash in the Kylie Rodney case that I missed? Is that what you're talking about, Squirrely Burger? In my digging on Kopaka early on. Wow. Well, my heart just breaks for Kopaka because, I mean, I don't know if he was collateral damage or what. OnlyFans has been a thing for years, and I learned years ago about those. Ugh, but I guess they think nobody is going to find them or do anything. Right, right. If people that are making money on it think that it's safe, that they're not going to get stalked and located. My oldest showed me about that OnlyFans stuff a decade ago. Oh, I didn't know it'd been around for that long, but it makes sense. And I have worked with women getting out of the sex industry. So that was a long time ago. That was in the early 90s. So that was prior to all this internet stuff. Army vets and all armed forces learn their lesson. What happened to them under this administration? They need to eat. Their families don't have magic money like Kay. Not even Kopaka family had talked. Whoa, Liza, you are in the know, it sounds like. I'm not making it up. Those Venmo transactions were public and screen captured. Thank you, Annie Potts. And I wasn't accusing you of making nothing up. I was, like I said, maybe thinking that you got some fake news. But yeah, like, how did I miss that? I know that there's been Venmo transactions that I've missed, but I didn't know they were that huge. I had no idea. Remember, there were Venmo transactions with the Kylie Rodney case too, right? There was Lindsay paid Sammy for pizza, I think is what it said, if I'm remembering accurately. Was that like another Pizzagate kind of thing? Mexico prisons are horrible, but the cars that don't tell not are pretty students pay off judges and rarely do time, in my opinion. Right. And when they pay people off, you guys, I want you to know it's huge. I've said this many times. It's not just like a few $1,000s. Like, let's say somebody's annual salary is $200,000 a year. The thugs will pay them 600,000, 800,000 a year for their cooperation. That's usually how it goes. Like 3 to 4 times their annual salary is what I hear from the inside track, which is nuts. Like, I had no idea it was that high, but it makes sense why these people get caught up in it. Let's see. The reason it took 8 hours is because the crime was still going on, in my opinion. Whoa. Alistair, I've kind of thought that, but not so clearly. Thank you for putting that in clear verbiage. And let's see, I'm 6 minutes behind. We're at an hour and 9 minutes. I'm almost there. Stop commenting. No, I'm just kidding. Keep commenting. You guys are awesome. But I'm going to try to speed read and wrap. So let's see. I've already got that. 2 of them found unalived. They were not buying meds, but again, in that country, people will red run you for a cell phone. Did you all discuss the teen found in Arizona, parents arrested? No. You're talking about Dylan Rounds? We're not discussed and haven't yet, and let's probably try to save that for another show. I'm totally interested. I have not studied up on Dylan Rounds, but I'm totally interested. And like I said, we're already at an hour and 10 minutes. So yeah, is that who you're talking about, Nico? Is Dylan Rounds? Cranky says, Nico info, please. Yes, it was posted on social media. I think we were assuming it was ransom payment or Mags was taking it out of the country with her. Wow. Wow. You guys, if you haven't seen, Kevin Neese did a new one yesterday. It's like 15 minutes long, maybe 18 minutes long. And I think it's really good, really streamlined, just straight on the money. He knows a lot. He has a lot of inside information, like serious inside information. Did anyone use the coordinates I submitted to you the other day? So I think that was yesterday, right? The coordinates. I don't know how to do coordinates. So if anybody did, please share. Yeah, that was wild, you guys. I'm like, how do you even get coordinates on Kopaka? And yeah. I was trying to figure out those Venmo things I remember that when Kylie Rodney and I need truth for Kylie and justice for Kylie. It's wild to me that Venmo keeps all that stuff public, but thank goodness that they do, huh? By the way, Zena, your hair looked good without the hat. Just putting it out. You're so nice. The hat probably messed it up, right? I hate the way it does all these weird things, and I'm looking at the camera and I'm just like, I don't want to be messing with my hair. So I just put a hat on and forget about it. Who said that Kaylee's LinkedIn account removed on November 13th? Thank you. Well, I think I heard it last night on J is for Justice, and that girl does her homework. So I'm not 100% sure. It sounds like other people were hearing it on Truth and Transparency last night too. American Princess Kaylee's sister and family said it in an interview with Fox News. American Princess, her sister Olivia, and not to be nitpicky, Squirrely Burger, but it's with an A. It's just wild. I've never seen Olivia spelled with an A, but I guess that's a thing. Olivia. Annie Potts, Squirrely Burger, thank you. Nope, new sad news death. Oh, new, not Dylan Rounds. I mean, I'm so happy that somebody got arrested in the Dylan Rounds case. I'll have to look that up, Nico. Thank you. If you have a name and want to put it in before we sign off. I have an acquaintance in Mexico prison for making down green leafy substances. They have burnt through about 100K by attorneys that claim to be in with the judges. Guy got no court dates and cash gone. Annie Ruler. Oh, man. Yeah, one of the problems with Mexican law enforcement is that they all are independent contractors that work for themselves. They're like a bunch of mavericks. So they do what they want to do. Again, that movie Traffic and Benicio del Toro. I love Benicio del Toro. And when he played the Mexican cop that was only slightly corrupt in Traffic, that was when everybody else discovered him. And he's just freaking amazing. If you haven't seen that movie, it's a must see. It's like 25 years old, maybe 20 years old. And I think it won Academy Awards. Probably Benicio probably won the Oscar for like best supporting actor. I don't think he was the lead. He's my man, Benicio Javier Rodriguez. That's the best line of any movie I've ever seen. Oh, the coordinates were posted by Kopaka himself, Annie Potts. See, this is why I'm so glad I didn't give up on trying to get caught up to the end before signing off. Whoa, that's crazy. And Cranky One says her sister. I'm not surprised about that. Annie Ruler. Dylan Rounds is from Utah. Thank you, Squirrely Burger. 16-year-old male. Whoa, like WTF. Um, $7,000 parents helping out daughter. That makes sense. I will do it too. How she got the credit line for a Range Rover at 21 years old and the insurance at that age. I'm very confused. Such great points. You know, when I bought my first Honda, I was living in San Francisco and I had called my insurance company at the dealership on all these other cars to find out price quotes. And then I decided on the Honda, but I had not realized I didn't get the price quote on that. And then I found out the next day after I got home with my like almost brand spanking new Honda, the insurance was like twice what I'd been quoted on Volkswagens and other great cars that I was looking at. So yeah, Range Rover, I can't even imagine. Can't even imagine. Parents are scum, last name's Valentine. And isn't that ironic? If you've got an email, I can send you everything I found so far. My email is justice, A to Z, and it's spelled ATOOZ at gmail.com. Nico, there you go. Thank you. So watch The Luckiest Girl Alive. It's a great way to understand how these things happened. I've never heard of that. Harsh. Thank you. I'm going to write that one down because I will forget. Luckiest Girl Alive. And then it's so annoying how you can't look at your chat for roughly 24 hours. They're probably going through it to make sure that there's not a bunch of things that they don't want in there. The YouTube, right? My daughter is still in college and works. She just bought a car in August. Didn't cost nearly as much as a Range Rover, but my daughter's father co-signed with her. Okay, right. Of course, a co-signer is all you really need. But remember, they said she did it all on her own. They didn't say that there was a co-signer. Thank you, sending. Awesome. Okay, you guys, I think I'm caught up. It's on Netflix. Cool. I'm going to check that out. I have Netflix. Luckiest Girl Alive. And that is my homework. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for being here. What an amazing chat. I hope that it was good for you too, because I feel like I was just getting fed all this freaking information and I like to have information for you guys. But right now I just want to wrap it up since we're almost at an hour and 20 minutes. So thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow, 9:30, if you can make it. I'll do my Cliff Notes later this afternoon. Peace out. Sending you light, sending you love. Have a great Tuesday, I think, right? It's still Tuesday. Hopefully you can get great exercise and really good nutrition, high protein, high produce, especially veggies. Eat your veggies. Stay hydrated and well rested. Get your sleep, relax, chillax, be kind, make sure people are kind to you. Make sure that you surround yourself with people that respect you and that you respect. You are breaking up. Static connection goes in and out. Sadi. Did you listen to the Kopaka scanner audio on J4J? He was tossing documents off the third floor. Whoa, I have not heard that part of it yet, Annie Potts. Was that from yesterday? So yeah, I'm sorry that I was breaking up, Nico. I was talking really fast, so maybe that was part of it. Just my point, Kay, he was not doing it alone, or is another explanation on that much moolah. All right, you guys, peace out. Sending you light, sending you love. Thanks again. I appreciate you to the moon and back.